I am currently running on like 3 hours of sleep. 3, count 'em, 3. There has just been so much going on that it's actually impossible to keep up with. People were very concerned about my mental health because I've just been on Twitter for like 24 hours. So I just have to remind everyone, keeping up with the drama, drink lots of water. I forgot to eat the other day. Self-care through these times is very important. So at the Iowa caucus, the candidates held rallies in Iowa the night before the caucus would occur. So here's Warren's, here's Biden's, here's Pete's, here's Bernie's. No, I'm not joking. So then the poll from that night was supposed to come out. They decided to cancel it.
Dr. David Chalian joins us in Iowa. And David, CNN had planned to bring everyone the final Iowa poll from CNN and the Des Moines Register tonight. That is no longer happening. Please explain to our viewers why.
Yeah, Anna, it was brought to CNN's attention earlier this evening that somebody who was questioned for the survey raised an issue with the way that their interview was conducted.
This has never really happened ever. Everyone's theory was that Bernie did really well, so they didn't want to talk about it, which is sort of my theory too, only my theory, I thought Joe Biden did so bad that they were embarrassed to put it out. The reason they kept it on hold and didn't release it was because a poll taker didn't pronounce Buttigieg's name correctly. So one person, one human being, had an anecdotal problem nobody else could prove, and the problem was not pronouncing Pete Buttigieg's name correctly. So they decided to cancel the entire poll. Normal. So a Pete Buttigieg supporter had to speak to the manager. One guy out of thousands and thousands of people. Since when is that a thing? They've literally kept out Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard out of polls before. I'm sure people have complained, but this poll, suspiciously, one guy complaining made them cancel the entire thing. Seems legit. I believe it. The poll comes out the next day and, wouldn't you know it, Sanders with 22%, Warren with 18%, Buttigieg with 16%, and Biden with 13%. The frontrunner, ladies and gentlemen, the most electable candidate. Now, this is a very important poll, and this is a very important caucus. This is the Iowa caucus. It kind of gives you an idea of where the whole country is headed in the primary. And it also hypes people up. If they see one person is doing well in the Iowa caucus, the country is bound to, like, get behind that candidate. So the day of the Iowa caucus comes. I tune into my Twitter feed, I tune into MSNBC, I tune into CNN, and
This is the Bernie group. It's so big that, in fact, that middle section right there with all those folks in it, that was the Joe Biden section. And they actually moved the Joe Biden section because they didn't have room for all the Bernie supporters that are showing up here. So
let's walk over to the Bernie Sanders supporters. You can see in the corner of the room the next round of counting is going to be underway. They seem to be pretty supportive of this. Certainly there are some other supporters from other campaigns who did indeed embrace that message, and they are indeed going for Bernie Sanders. So the Sanders campaign certainly the loudest tonight, but we do not know what the second alignment was. So it's important to know as we prepare for this evening, applause and enthusiasm certainly is important, but the votes are the most important thing.
this was all supposed to be Biden here. It has all been washed away by Sanders support, and you can see they're out of room again.
There's no doubt that if Bernie Sanders is looking like he's going to run away with it, for the Democratic establishment, that's almost as scary as losing Donald. Like, beating Donald Trump is really important, almost as important as keeping Bernie Sanders from being the party's nominee.
What are my thoughts? I'm not happy. I'm not happy with his field. Bernie Sanders is not going to be president of the United States. Okay.
It's all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.
All of the early polling from the Iowa caucus showed Bernie doing amazing. Joe was doing so poorly that he wasn't even on some of the results. There were tons of pictures and videos of the Biden support that showed up. At one place, there was literally one lone Biden supporter. CNN had a really hard time coming to terms with the fact that Andrew Yang was beating Joe Biden.
But it is interesting that in downtown Des Moines, right now, at this one precinct, Yang is representing better than an 8-year vice president.
I like how they have to emphasize, like, just one precinct, in this one precinct, and it wasn't just that one precinct, it was many precincts. And what I told the Yang gang on Twitter was, you know, even if you guys don't go far, the fact that you beat, like, an 8-year vice president who was the front runner, who the media was shoving down our throats for like a year, pretending that he's the only one who could beat Trump, he's the only one. The fact that you were beating that guy is like a victory on its own. That shows that people like Andrew Yang's brand of politics, and it shows that he has a future in politics. And I said, like, I don't want to see the Yang gang go doomer just because he doesn't win this time. There's a path for him in the future to become president, to go further. If things don't work out, Yang gang, you are always invited to the Bernie Brethren. I will take you in. We will have a great time being depressed and black-pilled and hating the DNC together. You don't have to. I don't like forcing people to vote or whatever, but just saying, you're welcome here. Biden was so cocky, running on name recognition, running on remember Obama? I know Obama, I was the vice president. Literally telling people to vote for someone else if they dared criticize him.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm running for, in this case, running for president of the United States. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other person.
We had this classification of families.
You should vote for Trump.
Families.
You should vote for Trump.
I'm not going to do that.
We got to stop building and replacing pipelines.
You got to go vote for somebody else.
Well, I tell you what, if you look at my record and you still doubt about my commitment, then you should vote for somebody else.
Well, you ought to vote for somebody else.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me.
The other day, he was handing out written notes to reporters who were asking him questions. Instead of just answering the question, he was giving them like pre-written answers.
Mr. Biden, just a clarification on Social Security, your record from earlier.
A little bit of an answer.
An issue out of it.
For you.
What is this?
You'd ask, so I decided to write it up for you, so you knew.
Does he think he could do that on the stage when debating Trump? Do you think the moderator is going to ask him something and he's just going to hand the moderator a pre-written piece of paper? So all of a sudden, these results turned into these results. They completely yeeted the results. Why? Quality control. The DNC had to do quality control.
Address to the nation tonight, just short of a...
Even though we did not have results yet, Pete Buttigieg gets on stage and makes a victory speech. Like, we did it, guys. We did it. You did what? Do you remember that app I talked about a week or so ago? Apparently, voters will be voting in the caucuses via phone app. And guess who controls said phone app? The DNC! The app is fucking shit up for people. Who could have seen this coming? Everyone! And you remember how in my video about the app, they said that they wouldn't tell us who owns the app or who made it? But questions about the app remain unanswered, including who developed it and whether it has been subjected to independent security testing. Well, it turns out a company called Shadow made it. We are living in a young adult sci-fi dystopian future novel, and it gets worse. Pete Buttigieg helped pay for it, and the CEO who created it is a Pete Buttigieg supporter. Meet the Shadow Team. We are campaign and technology veterans who have built and implemented technology at Hillary for America, Obama for America, Google, Canva, Apple, AFL-CIO, and the DNC. Comforting! So now people are like, okay, let's get this straight. The app is causing problems, so they had to do quality control. We find out the app is controlled by a company, Shadow, and Pete Buttigieg helped fund the app, And now Pete Buttigieg is on stage saying that he won. Now remember, this didn't happen in a few minutes. This was hours. Like hours. I took a nap and I woke up and we still didn't have any results. CNN and MSNBC and all these networks were still on air like, we don't have results. We don't have any results, guys. Tune in, keep tuning in, keep watching, keep giving us clicks, keep giving us views. Just like what happened with the poll the other day. They're delaying this shit. Finally, at like 3 p.m. New York time, we get results. But we only get 60% of the results. Bernie Sanders with a score of 28,220 votes. In second place, Pete Buttigieg, 27,000. In third place, Elizabeth Warren, 22,000. And in fourth place is our most electable man of the hour, Joe Biden, with 14,000. Pete Buttigieg was the winner. How does that make sense, you ask? How does Bernie get the most votes, but then Pete is in first place? That doesn't make sense. Well, there's something called delegates. And let me show you how these delegates are chosen. In some of these instances, it's not even a tie.
Tails.
There you go.
You get the delegate.
How many do we?
When you're watching. And then flip it over.
Heads. I can. Heads.
All right, so Buttigieg will get 3 delegates.
People are dying! Could you imagine if this is how the NFL did things? Oh, let's just flip a coin, heads or tails, the team. There would be riots! There would be riots in the streets! The Iowa Democratic Party won't say when the full caucus results will be. Why? Okay, so in the black spots is where there's no results. We don't have results for the areas where there's black spots yet. Look at that. It just so happens the area where the black spots are the places Bernie did the best. Now, do I think this shit is rigged? Do I think Buttigieg, like, made up these numbers? Do I think this is, like, legitimately rigged? No. But I do think all of this shit, how messy it is, how incompetent it is, I think it's done on purpose. I think all this chaos is done on purpose. Because, again, like I said in the beginning, what the caucus is supposed to do is it's supposed to hype up people for who they can vote for in the primaries. And New Hampshire is coming up. So if all the vote blue, no matter who people see that Pete is doing well, they're going to wind up supporting Pete and going behind Pete. That is why they're delaying this shit. That's why they delayed the first CNN poll, because Bernie was doing really well. And that's why they delayed this shit and made it into this whole mess. And they go, oh guys, tune in, wait, come on, give us more money by watching our thing. Come on, tune in, wait, isn't this so excited to see the results and stuff? And they're running with the fact that Buttigieg won because Buttigieg's their man. He's the little establishment hack. He's a little rat. I don't care if that makes me sound like a conspiracy theorist. We already have proof that they rigged it in 2016. We already have proof that Obama himself said he wants to stop Sanders, that there's this big conspiracy to stop Sanders. The conspiracy that, by the way, Pete Buttigieg is involved in. Instead of giving us the full results, they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, Buttigieg's in first, we don't have anything else right now, but haha, we will. And then when the momentum dies, and when, like, nobody cares anymore, they're gonna give the full results. And it's gonna be like, oh, by the way, Sanders won. Anyway, back to impeachment and stuff, guys. Back to Donald Trump. And all the neo-libs on Twitter are just gaslighting everyone who is concerned about this. So what's next? What is going to occur? Well, they are going to give us the full results hopefully soon. Who knows what it's going to say? I'm sure Bernie will be the winner. I'm not sure though, I'm not making any predictions, but I think he's going to be in first. And even if he does, and even if he is in first, don't let this slip away. Don't just forget about all this bullshit. This is serious. The fact that we relied on this app, at the least, this was just incompetent boomer bullshit. What this does is just breaks people's spirits. It makes them not want to vote. It makes them feel like, why does my vote matter? Don't become full doomer pilled yet. We still have New Hampshire. We still have the primaries. Get out and vote. If shit does get bad, if they do actually start pulling their bullshit, I guess I will be buying a bike lock. Just kidding. Unless